I'm going to be showing you my trading performance from March of 2020 all the way until now on this public portfolio that I have shared periodically updates on since I created it on my YouTube channel back in 2020. I'll be showing you the month by month breakdowns and what my returns have looked like compared to the S&P 500 as a passive alternative. So without further ado, let's jump right into the stats, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about what I'm doing in this account. So within the Webull platform, first I'll show you that I can log back into this. It is an interactive platform that I am logged into and playing around with. So if I take a look at this, first and foremost, I trade a good mix of everything, but in this particular brokerage, I am trading the indices, I am trading gold and oil and silver, and I'm trading individual stocks and options. I trade a good mix of things in here, so it is sort of a all-encompassing view of the bulk of my trading activity. Although this is not my only trading account, I do have others that I trade actively as well. This is one that I keep very public and I share a lot of details on the internet with. So with that out of the way, let's jump into it. So first of all, here's the 5-day performance. I'm up 1.2%, up about $15,000. If I take a look at the 1 month view, you can see I'm up $40,494.50, which is a overall return of 3.34%. If we take a look at the 3 month view, you can see we're up $157,000 on this account, up 14.36%. The 6 month view is up just under 16%, $171,590 with a slight sort of mini drawdown downside move. And then if we take a look at the year-to-date returns in 2025, which I'm very proud of considering the market has had a really rough year, I'm up 21% compared to, I think at the time of recording this, the S&P is up about 8% year-to-date. So I'm feeling pretty good about my performance in 2025, which is nice because in 2024, I slightly underperformed the market. Now taking a look at the 1 year view, you can see that the account is up $257,981 or 26% year-over-year returns. And just for context, this number for me is very good. While many traders on social media will say that's not a good trading return, to me, this is very sustainable. It's something I've been able to do for the long term, and this money compounds very, very nicely. If I can get anywhere near a 20+% return on average per year, the account will grow fantastically over time without a massive risk of blowing out. Well, yes, some traders go for 50, 100% returns per year. What you don't hear about is the large number of people who try doing that and they blow up all their money. For me personally, I am after consistency, repeatability, and something that is relatively achievable with the amount of hard work that I've put into growing this account. And finally, we can take a look at the all-time return since I started this account in 2020, which has been 270.7% or $537,000 on this account. And while I've been working on this account for 5 years, this has been a much longer journey for me than that. While it is easy sometimes to look at somebody who has sort of had big success in their trading career and look at the final product and say, I want that, that is totally reasonable, but you have to understand that this is this is my career path. I have dedicated so much time, so much energy, and so much, work towards my education and learning to trade. And so I'm really proud of my results here, but let's now compare them to had I just taken all of this money and just thrown it into an S&P 500 ETF, which is one of the best performing stock markets, what would the past 5 years have produced in terms of a passive return? And just for clarity, remember that the past 5 years has been a phenomenal period for the stock market, and not all years are going to be like this. Real quick, I wanted to jump in and tell you guys to make sure to join our free Telegram channel if you have not already. It's totally free to join, and we're sharing chart markups each and every day on all different markets, things like US oil and the dollar and gold and silver, all sorts of things. If you're not already in the Telegram channel, it's completely free to join. Like I said, we'll leave a link in the description down below, and you can come get some free data analysis, chart markups each and every day from myself and our team here at A1 Trading. Now back to the video. So 5+ years ago, when I first created my account, I marked the exact spot and time in which I created the account and deposited funds into my Webull portfolio, which was back in March of 2020, which was an insane time. And I sort of decided to do this because the market had dropped significantly, and I believed that it had a lot of potential to go back up because stimulus checks were being handed out, the overall economy seemed to be chugging along, and I liked the story for a rebound play. which ultimately was one of the better calls in my trading career. And I'll get to that in a second when we look at 2020 and 2021 trading returns in my portfolio. So first, I want to just show you, here is the comparable return of the S&P 500 in the same period that I've been trading my account. Let's call it about a 170% return had I just bought the passive index or ETF VOO. To compare this, we basically have a passive index return of 170%, which by the way was an incredible return for the last 5.5 years. And this is very, very strong performance for the stock market. There are also times, to be fair, where buying and holding the VOO for 5 years yields nothing, where it goes sideways or even down over a 5-year basis. Although it's rare, and most of the time the stock market over time tends to go up, please note that that is a possibility. And so we are comparing, in the past 5 years, if you've been able to achieve more than 170%, you have done phenomenally well to beat the S&P 500 in a really strong bull market environment. So to compare the final numbers, VOO or the S&P 500 is up 170% in the same period that my account is up 270%. And I can proudly say that through blood, sweat, and tears of trading and investing so much of my time and energy into doing this, I have been able to, over the course of the last 5.5 years, consistently and strongly outperform the S&P 500's return. And ultimately, this is what I set out to do in my trading career. My goal from the original point of investing was I had some money on the side, I wanted to grow it. And I thought, hey, if I get more active with my trading and my investing, can I outperform the average, which is much easier said than done, trust me. It is very difficult to consistently beat the S&P 500, as the S&P 500 is comprised of the best companies of the world and tends to go up over time. So for me to be able to perform better than the S&P 500, even if it was a slim beat, even if I was up just 200% versus the 170%, to me, taking the reins on my own trading and investing, taking control of my personal finance and trading and learning this craft has been something that I'm both passionate about and has been incredibly lucrative across all of my trading accounts over the last 5.5 years. So yes, trading and beating the S&P 500 is attainable. It is not easy. It is a ton of work and it is a ton of grind that I've put in to be able to do these returns, but I want to show you that it is possible. With that out of the way, let's take a look at the month-by-month breakdown of my account. So in the top right here, we can take a look at the monthly performance of my portfolio. And what we can do is we can go back each year from inception until now. So let's actually work backwards. So this year in 2025 has been a really strong year for me. Despite the market selling off pretty harshly, I had a lot of positioning in gold that ended up being a very strong trade. I've also traded a lot of commodities this year, and I've traded a lot of options this year. I did also catch the rebound in stocks after the April sell-off, which ended up being the correct call. So 2025 has been a really good year, and not all these years are going to be good. So stick with me. January had a 5% gain. I was down 4% in February, up 0.82%, up 4.5% in April, up 6.39% in May, in June 4.68%, and month to date 3.17% in July. If we take a look at 2024, this was also a good year for me, but the stock market itself actually outperformed me in 2024, as we had just pretty much a straight up move outside of the August sell-off that we saw, and move lower sharply in some other periods, but most of the time we got really sharp corrections very quickly and bounces on everything. So the market was up quite a bit in 2024. I was up 0.8% in January, February 1%, March 2%, April 1.8%, May 2.5%, June 1.9%, July was, you can see this is kind of confusing the way Webull calculates its calculations. In fact, what we'll do here is, if you want, you can pause the video and read how their calculator works. The cumulative P&L statistic over here is generally what I look at more closely, as this gives me just more of a rough number in terms of the overall P&L. August we were down, September we were down, October we were up nicely, November we were up nicely, and December slightly lower as well. If we take a look at the 2023 year, I also had a drawdown in 2023. This amounted to a drawdown of somewhere around $60,000. I think it actually was worse at one point intra-month. But overall, really nice returns on 2023 as well. We had a nice bounce back from the really ugly year that was 2022, which I'll show you in just a second. November and December were really strong. August through October was really weak. July, June, May, April, March, we had a nice win streak with multiple up months, and January was a really strong month as well. So here's 2022. This was the hardest year in my trading career. Still to this date was a very difficult period for me. I was going through a lot, and that has nothing to do with the trading performance. My strategy throughout this entire period of time has not changed. I've stayed very consistent for the most part in what I do, outside of adding in options within 2023. With that said, overall 2022 was a down year for me. And this was, by the way, this is years into my trading career where I had already become consistently profitable. I had a negative year due to some really challenging for my trading strategy market conditions. And I just want to make a quick mention that no matter what your strategy is, there are times where things are going really well. There are times where things are going really poorly, and some of it is out of your control. If you're a trend trader and the market goes sideways for a year, you're likely to have a negative or break-even year. And if the market is very trendy and you trade reversals, you're likely to underperform that year. So it is something to think about, is the market environment that you're in can have severe impacts on your performance. So with that said, what we can see here is that in January, we had a down month. February was down. March, we were up. April, May, and June were 3 back-to-back painful months. And what you'll notice is that the numbers are changing over time. It is because over time, I have consistently added to the account. However, what you'll see here is, again, on the cumulative P&L calculation, the P&L that is shown has nothing to do with the deposits made into the account. All of the P&L here is from specifically profits earned in the trading activity, not the investing into the platform. So I do like to add to my portfolios over time from other sources of income. I think that's really important. And so I add to my accounts over time. However, this P&L has nothing to do with the deposits and withdrawals. So if I take a look at July, we had an up month, very sharp up month. August, September, a couple down months. October, November were decent, and then December we had a negative month. Now on to 2021. So I mentioned earlier, we had some really big swings in 2020 and 2021 as I made the big call that I thought that the markets would rebound in 2020, which ended up being a very good call and brought some really severe returns in the account. So you can see we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the 12 months were positive, with 5 negative months in 2021. And here's 2020. You can see some of the numbers were insane in terms of a percentage basis, but please note that the account was much smaller at this time. And I have said many times throughout my experience sharing this trading account that at a point in 2020, I decided to significantly reduce the risk per trade that I take on this account. The account has become much larger. I've reduced the risk per trade in that regards, but the initial onset of this account was classified more as aggressive. So when the account was first created, I deposited $50,000 and I was pretty aggressive with what I was doing. As I've added to the account over time and the account has had substantial growth from returns and from deposits, I've decided to significantly reduce the risk in the account, which has been, again, something that I'm much more comfortable with. I sleep well at night because my risk is very tolerable. Not that it was ever insane, but when I first took the account, I was much more aggressive and knew I was being aggressive intentionally. Like I said, I have other accounts that are far more conservative. And so this account initially was an aggressive one for me and has since become a much more conservative account over time. So again, 2020, you can see some crazy returns in terms of percentage basis. The account was up significantly, and a career-defining trade for me in this time was I traded a lot of the NASDAQ and I traded a lot of Tesla at that time. So I had a really nice return in Tesla during this time. It was an active trade for me. So essentially everybody was saying Tesla was going to go bankrupt, and the chart said otherwise. The trade was just there over and over. And so I ended up doing really well with Tesla during this time. So there it is. That is the overall return in the account. As I mentioned, up 271 or so % since inception. And this has been a really fun and truthfully, a good thing for accountability for me to share this journey, because again, I'm very transparent about my trading returns in this account. And truthfully, it has been a very good accountability thing for me as a trader to share this along the way, because I have a lot of people who watch what I do on my videos and live streams. And so every trade that I've taken in this account, for the most part, I've been very consistent and focused on my rules, focused on my strategy, and I'll give you a high level view if you're interested in this. I use a combination of fundamental analysis, technical analysis, kept very simple, support and resistance market structure, and sentiment analysis, looking at key indicators like what institutional activity is doing, as well as what crowd sentiment tends to be. This is where I find some of the better risk to reward opportunities that I've been able to capture in markets. Trading, like I said, is a never-ending grind. It is a ton of work, and if you are looking to become that trader that you had always wanted to be, all I can say is stick with it. If you truly love this game, if you truly love markets and learning about them, that will set you in the right path. If you're just out here to make money, it is unlikely to yield what you want to get out of it. But if you are somebody who's genuinely passionate and interested in markets, I would encourage you to stick with it, continuously learn. Be fine with a demo account longer than you think you should. It's a great way to learn and just have an appreciation for how markets move and what moves them. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this, and thank you very much for watching. If you're looking for a better brokerage, then stick around for a second. I'm going to tell you how you can get some free sign-up perks with great brokerages all around the world. Whether you trade FX or indices, commodities, futures, all of the above, I'm going to show you a really cool way that you can get free sign-up perks with your new account. So if you're interested in switching into a different brokerage, you can get things like deposit bonuses or free stock shares, or you can even get access to some of our products for completely free. All you have to do to find out current perks being offered to new depositors is go to a1trading.com/brokers. That's a1trading.com/brokers. And as you look at that page, you'll see all these different offerings that we've currently locked down for you guys as subscribers, as viewers. Now, of course, we get something out of this. If you choose to use these links, you'll be supporting our page. But in return for the viewers, we've got great sign-up perks available for you guys so that you get some free game just by signing up for a brokerage if you're looking to do so. So check it out on our website. You can find current deals at a1trading.com/brokers. Thanks for watching this video, and on the screen right now you'll see some other options of other videos we put together that might be helpful to you in your trading career. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.